Alrighty, let's go live on Sunday, May the 26th at 7 a.m. And I have ridden 21 kilometres and it's currently 18 degrees. That's pretty good. And I hope you enjoy this mask that I'm using on this morning's live stream just to make it somewhat different to the run-of-the-mill production. And if the microphone is not working properly, let me know. But then you'll have trouble letting me know if you can't hear me in any case. Ha ha ha. So this morning's topic, I was surprised that I hadn't done in my Understanding series one on understanding death. I was really surprised. And so seeing as it's potentially the most important subject there is, and the most unavoidable event that occurs in everyone's life, the most inevitable and the most unavoidable. So I wanted to discuss an understanding of what death is from a spiritual perspective and how we can be more accepting of it, I think, and also more accepting of the inevitable fact that it is something that occurs to all of us, of course. So there is, in spiritual teachings, there is a teaching that says that for one who is born, death is certain, and for one who dies, birth is certain. So there is a continuous, eternal cycle of birth and death that we have been in for so long that it's pretty much immeasurable. You know, eternal tends to be immeasurable. And it is something that we identify with the body. And this is where we make all the mistakes that we make in relation to understanding death. Is that our foundational understanding of death is based on a lie. It's based on a misunderstanding. The misunderstanding is that we think we are the body. And when we think we are the body, we identify with the stages that the body goes through, from birth to old age to death. And we think that that is the entire existence of the body. And because we have a natural need to connect, to love, and to be loved, we form connections with other people that we make the mistake of thinking that when they have left their body, that this connection is no longer existing, or the person is no longer existing. So we grieve for the person that we were connected to, thinking that they are no longer existing. Whilst it is true we may not see them in our own existence, it is important to remember another quote from spiritual teachings, which, to try and get the wording right, I will actually put down here. I'll actually read out. It says, "Know that that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable self." The imperishable self is, of course, our soul. And our soul is us, what gives the body that we travel in life. Without a soul being in the body, there is no life to speak of. Can I make it through these traffic lights? Well, only just. So, once the soul enters into the body, it becomes animated and has life and has consciousness throughout. When the soul leaves the body, we are left with a material machine full of chemicals that no longer serves a purpose and is put back into the ground or is burnt. But our connection was with that other soul. All the heartfelt connections that we felt with that person, all the communications that we had, all the love that we shared, all the laughter, all the good times, all the bad times. That was a relationship that we had with the person, also known as the soul, that was residing in that body. What rocks us at death is losing that relationship, no longer having that communication, and believing that that person is no longer with us. As we get older, of course, we all experience more examples of this from people that may have friends, family members that have left their body. And you'll notice I don't say they've died, I say they've left their body. And through to people that maybe have had accidents and or have maybe taken their own life. Again, their existence continues, but we are no longer seeing it. There are rare exceptions where we may be aware of the continuation of their existence when they've left their body. They may be hanging around in spirit form. It's not impossible, it does happen, but it's not the norm. So the important thing is to educate ourselves and remind ourselves on a regular basis that we are not the body, and that our connection with everyone else is, if we only are connected to their body, then we are inevitably going to feel great distress and loss when that which we saw with our eyes is no longer there. If we go beyond what we see and feel with our heart and see the bigger picture and the bigger journey, we will actually come to understand that the time that we knew that person for, that they were in the body that we related to, is such an incredibly small amount of time, so infinitesimal. And we think that's their whole picture. And, we're like, oh well, Fred's passed on, and he had a good life and all the rest. It's like, yeah, he's passed on from our existence, but the part of his journey that you saw was just such a small amount of his timeline. So I guess I could draw that analogy, talking about a timeline. You could be looking at somebody's Facebook page, and you might look at it for one day, and you see their one day's worth of their timeline, and you relate to their posts and so forth, and that to you is that person, and you don't see it anymore, and you mourn the loss of that person. I'm going to try and get through. These traffic lights are very insistent this morning, but I've got through those ones. But if you were to realise that that person's timeline extends infinitely in both directions, you would have a complete different understanding and a different compassion and empathy for that spirit soul. You would understand from a spiritual perspective that we are all on an infinite journey, and we are all pretty much lost on the path and looking for our way back home, back to spiritual reality, back to a place that we try to find here, which, despite our best attempts, doesn't exist here in the material world, which is a place of safety, serenity, security, peace, continuous love and compassion and beauty. All the things that we deeply wish for in our heart are there because we come from that existence. And we come into this harsh world hoping that we can find it here, or hoping that we can recreate it here. And some people go to enormous lengths to try and do that. And it's because it's such a small amount of time that we have in this body, relatively speaking, and because of the length of our timeline, it's just a waste of our energy and our direction to put so much effort into trying to find something here that the wise person understands doesn't exist because of the temporary nature of the body we're in and the material world we're traveling in. So, some advice for those of us of how to handle situations when somebody that we've loved has moved out of our existence is to try, as I say, to remind ourselves of the spiritual reality that we are not the body, that it's scientifically proven we are not the body, and that we are, oh, it's beautiful over there, we are here for a temporary period of time, and the wisest thing we can do is understand what the meaning of life is, which I'll give it to you in one easy to understand sentence. It is to find eternal love and to live that with that eternal love. So, talking about eternal love, my love is watching. Just saw your name pop up then, my gorgeous woman. So wonderful that you were able to free up some time to watch. That is awesome. Very, very pleased that you're watching, and I hope you're enjoying this unusual live stream effect I have of the 9 faces instead of the 1. Why have 1 Harry Bowman when you can have 9? That should be a bumper sticker, or maybe I should make that into a meme. So anyway, I'm sending you lots of love, my love, and lots of kisses. So that's pretty much a point I wanted to make, is that whether our connection has been with an animal friend, whether it's been with someone who's in human form, whether, whatever our connection has been, we must understand that it will always be temporary, and therefore we must make the wise person who makes plans to be able to handle the inevitable when it happens, because for everyone that is born, death is certain. But also remember that no one can destroy the imperishable self, which is our soul. So death doesn't really exist when we understand that our journey is continuous, and that it's only the death of the body that we were traveling in that we are experiencing. We continue on, we take on another body, we reincarnate depending on our karma, depending on our activities. We reincarnate on the same level or higher or lower, and we continue our journey. And we should, as much as possible, be the well-wisher of those that we can no longer be in touch with, that are no longer in our existence. We should wish them well on their journey and pray that they find their way back home safely and as soon as possible. Thank you everyone for watching, including my beautiful woman. Thank you for watching, and I've just got an amazing view as I start to ride home of the mountains in the distance with the clearing sky. It's just peaceful, and I'm very present with it. Beautiful. So live vegan and save lives, guys. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon. Ahimsa.